Welcome to the September 4th Town Hall. We're excited that you're here. We'll give it a few minutes. We have got a lot of people rolling in. Make sure everybody's here for this action-packed, info-packed Town Hall, as they all are. So in the chat's open. Go ahead and throw in there if you went to Explore. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Explore. If you got your certifications, always nice to hear about those kind of things. Let's see, Springfield, India, Isle of Wight. Not sure I know where that's at. Chicago, Amsterdam, fantastic. St. Louis, Wisconsin. All right. Rolling in here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So my name is Brad Tompkins, and we are going to see if we can get my advancer to work. That's odd. Don't tell me this thing locked up. There we go. Okay, now we're rolling. You know it's live when stuff like this happens, folks. All right, so my name is Brad Tompkins. I'm the VMUG Executive Director, and with me I have Kendall and Erica. Welcome, ladies. Now, it was your first experience at Explore. One word, what do you think?
Energy.
Okay, I'll give you more than one.
Okay. The energy was amazing. It was really great to meet everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so great to meet so many faces that we've seen on paper. So we got to meet you. Say hi again to us in chat.
There you go. All right, so you can reach me on X or LinkedIn. We'll throw in the chat at some point my phone number, email, all that kind of stuff. Pretty active on WhatsApp, so if you're on that, you can hit me up there. Always enjoy talking to VMUG members, so feel free to hit me up if it's something about VMUG, about Advantage, about Broadcom, about IT in general, about smoking meats, whatever you want to talk about. Feel free to give me a call. Like I said, I always enjoy talking to our members. So if you're new to the Town Hall, we've been doing this for, gosh, over a year now, and we will continue doing these until the interest wanes, which doesn't seem like it's anywhere in sight, which is fantastic. But we do these to make sure that you, a VMUG member, is up to date on what's going on. We get it. You know, you're running data centers, you've got your personal life, you're trying to catch up on college football if you're like me now that it started. And you might not know everything that's going on with Broadcom. Well, the good news is this is VMUG's full-time job. So we want to give you the information that you need to know as we all navigate changes in the IT environment. Yes, a lot of changes with Broadcom, but let's face it, that's IT. I mean, the only thing constant in IT is change. We've been dealing with that our entire career. I've been in IT my entire career, so 30 plus years of doing this, that's always the way. Broadcom listens to this. They attend this. We give them the information back from this because they want to hear from their customers about, you know, whatever it is that's on your mind. I'd be shocked if there's not more than one Broadcom person on this call right now. So we want to keep you up to date. So while the purpose stays the same, the content always shifts because, you know, always things going on. So we'll start with the VMUG update, which is really an Explore update because VMUG was at Explore. This was a fantastic event. Erica and Kendall talked about, it was their first time coming, so it was great to see them interact with everybody. VMUG had a booth, which is not pictured in here, but we also had a separate area with the putt-putt. You can see me honing my putt-putt skills on the left side there. No worries. I'm not hitting the tour anytime soon. I'm going to stick with IT. We also, you can see people mingling. The two pictures on the right were at Wakuda, the reception that VMUG did. Bottom middle, you see Stephen, Morgan, Travis, and other folks there just hanging out. But that top middle one, that was a VMUG reception that the local chapters just did on their own. And it was fantastic. It was Sunday night. It was a great way to get together, see some people. I think we had 3-4 different continents represented with all the people that were there. So shout out to the chapters that did that. And I'm going to read them off there to you. These are the chapters that put this together. They deserve a lot of credit here. Pittsburgh, Minneapolis, Buffalo, Calgary, Chicago, Belgium, DFW, Toledo, Houston. Fantastic work, chapters. Appreciate those leaders putting that together. It was a lot of fun going to that event right there on property. at the Venetian Sports Book. So good stuff happening there. We also had more pictures here. So we also had, you can see top left, there was a lot of excitement when the hub opened up. You could see the stilt acrobat, robot-like people, whatever they're called, more people gathering together. That top right, Gene and Eric gives us VIP seating for the keynote. So we were the second row. It was great to be up there up front and hear all that happened on that. Bottom right, so that was a session that Martin, Dave, and Matt did. And I don't know if you look closely, is Matt wearing shoes? I don't know about that. Candidly, I don't want to know about that. Whatever, they had a great session. It was good, moved on. But the two in the bottom, middle, and bottom left. So on the left side is UMesh. Now, UMesh runs the ANS division at Broadcom, and that was at our event at Wakuta. So this was a VMUG reception that we had, and Prashant's on is the fellow in the white shirt. So these are obviously high-level executives in the ANS division. The middle, and I know the lighting isn't right because, you know, it's Vegas and they, you know, all that kind of stuff, but we wish this picture was better. But nonetheless, that is Hock Tan. So he addressed the crowd at Wakuta. We probably had, what, 200-300 people at Wakuta? I think 400 registered, whatever. It was a lot of people. And so he addressed the crowd for probably 15 or so minutes. He hung around for another 15 or so minutes, talking to people, talking to members. And also not pictured that was there. Let's see, Chris was there, who runs the VCF division. Chris Wolf was there, who, as you know, is in the AI side of things at Broadcom. Paul Turner came by. So my point in saying this is I get a lot of questions from people about, you know, what kind of support did we get from Broadcom? And I can tell you that the support is better than VMware. And that's saying a lot because VMware supported VMUG hugely. That support has not only continued, it has increased. And an example of that is the executives that take time out of their busy Explore schedule and come talk to VMUG members and just mingle. So it was great. Great event, a lot of fun. You could tell I'm still on a little bit of, you know, post-Explore buzz here. It'll probably hit me this weekend. All right, so some tech updates and updates overall. So some of the big announcements that they had, and there was probably about 12 big announcements. I narrowed it down to these 4 because I think it resonates the most with our VMUG members. Private AI services is now integrated into VCF 9. So VCF 9, of course, was the first major release under Broadcom. And this was really Broadcom's chance to show the world, look, we've been telling you that we invest billions in R&D, and we've been telling you that we are solely focused on VCF 9. And this was their showcase. And I think they did a fantastic job with VCF 9. And now at Explore, of course, they announced that a few months ago, launching VCF 9. Now they're even adding to it a few months after launch. So now I know some of you, or let me say it this way, I had the privilege of talking to many VMUG members all over the world. I travel a lot. I attend a lot of VMUG events, user cons. I attend a lot of industry events and those kind of things. And I feel like some members might be in the case of, you know what, we don't do anything with AI and that's not really us. Well, I would challenge you on that on a few things. Number one, making it integrated into VCF is going to give you easier access to start trying things with AI. Maybe it's just a simple, hey, let's spin up an LLM and RAG and get some AI chatbots going for our help desk, all internal, all private, all information that you have, that you can share things like your IP addresses and company-specific stuff that you don't want out on the main internet. You can start dabbling in that. Also, IT has long passed the days of just being, we keep the blinky lights running and we keep the phones on and we keep the emails passing. We have got to move up, and many of you have, into how can we be business differentiators for whatever industry you're in. Your IT knowledge and your industry knowledge of the company you've been working at is extremely valuable. So how can we, and whether this is with AI or whether this is adopting the cloud operating model to get apps out there quicker or maybe less expensive, you know, that's where we need to be focused on. And I know many of you are, and I get I'm preaching to the choir here, but just that's why I think that this is important, because it makes it easier for our members to start dabbling in AI. So I encourage you to do that. Other thing is the VCF Advanced Cyber Compliance Solution. Obviously, cybersecurity is the top of mind of everybody. If it's not, you're living under a rock. Definitely, you got to pay attention to this stuff, not just with VMware, but with everything. Bad actors out there are all over the place. We're seeing an increase. Everybody's seeing an increase. It can get a little overwhelming if you think about it. And let me tell you, the bad guys are using AI, and they are doing things like spoofing your voice to try to get your MFA codes, et cetera, et cetera. I can't go down that rabbit hole, but nonetheless, I've been there before. It's frightening. Another one was partner expansion with Canonical. So that's a new relationship. Obviously, that's Ubuntu. And so it's exciting about that. I've got a call with those folks coming up later today, and exciting to see. First of all, they reached out to us saying, hey, we want to see how we can get more involved in VMUG. Gotta love to hear that. So we'll see more to come on that. Throw in the chat if you have something that you want me to ask them specifically. Happy to do so. And I see Kendall did throw this in the reminder, but I'll say it. If you want to have a question that I'll see, put it in the Q&A. We'll have time at the end to go through that. But the chat's open. Feel free to ask whatever you want to in the chat. People are manning the chat. Peers will ask and answer questions. So that's kind of the way this works around here if you're new. So yeah, vDefend and Avi load balancers have been revamped. So that's a nice piece. I know the vDefend session that Chris McCain does at UserCons all over the place is very popular. That is a fantastic solution. It sits on top of VCS, so it's another SKU you got to buy. I know that's a little bit bittersweet there, but it does do some good stuff there. So always making advances on that. So from on-site experience, man, there were so many sessions. Tons of people got their cert sit done. They offered free cert sit for people that had the pass. And a lot of people took advantage of that. And it was great to see. Some things that I heard, the sessions were fantastic. Very deep content on the sessions. You know, you had people, Chris McCain was there. You had William Lamb there. You had tons of people that really can go deep into whatever, you know, session that you're sitting at. So that was great. We'll talk about the keynotes here in a minute, but the overall event was really good. Now, was it the 20,000 people that if you've been for many years, you know, pre-COVID? No, it wasn't, but it was better than last year. No shade on last year. It was a lot better than last year. And what I liked about it, even though the numbers, you know, weren't 20,000, man, that group that was there was all in. Like it was, I felt like every member there was a VMUG member. I know technically they weren't, but about 31% were. So that's pretty cool. And after we left, you know, I'm sure that number was 99%. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating 99, but we did gain a lot of members from this event, which is why we go. But it was definitely a good event. The way they had the hub laid out was fantastic. We were in the hub, and you know, you had the sponsors there, you had the community hub there, you had the puppies showed up too, which is always nice. So games out there. So it was like one big place, one big hub that everything was at. So that was pretty cool. Outside of the sessions, of course. The party was great. It was out by the Palazzo Pool. They had a bluegrass band. They had a DJ there. Lots of fun there. But customer call outs on main stage. So they announced that Walmart has chosen VCF and Broadcom for their private cloud, which, look, that's nice. Walmart's Walmart. Everybody knows Walmart. I'm guessing Walmart has a bigger IT budget than you. But who they had on main stage, and that's Jeremy on the right there. Jeremy on the right, and his name is Jeremy Wright. Didn't plan that way, but you know, when you're on a roll, you're on a roll. So he's the director of IT of Grinnell Mutual. What really struck out to me about this, first, never heard of Grinnell Mutual. I think they're in Idaho, Indiana, Ohio, somewhere in the Midwest. The picture that they showed of their headquarters was in the middle of a cornfield. I'm not kidding. So I'm like, okay, this, you know, Jeremy, I feel like I've worked at a location like this. They have a 17-person IT department. I think they're less than 200 employees total. I have no idea how big their business is. Maybe they're massive, but I've never heard of them before. But he had time on main stage, just him, like you see him up there. And he was talking about how he ran the numbers and he worked with his, you know, team to deploy VCF9, and he talked about how much money it's saving the company over the next 2 or 3 years. He got into looking at the leases that he has with his equipment. Apparently they lease their equipment, and he was able to either buy out of a lease early or get out of a lease early or whatever, so they could move to vSAN because it saved him so much more money. He talked about the automation that they're doing that's saving them time and all these kind of things. So the keynote is live. You can go stream it on, I'm sure it's on YouTube, or just go to Explore, Google Explore 2025, and you'll see it. Watch him. I think it was about, 6-8 minutes, but it was fascinating, the process that he went to. And what really brought it home to is going back to, this is a mid-sized company. This is not the Walmarts. This isn't the Uniteds or the Deltas or the CVSs or the Medtronics or, these huge companies. These, he seemed like a guy that's dealing with this type things that many of our VMUG members are. About 20% of our VMUG members are enterprise, and the rest is corporate and commercial. And that was the other thing I noticed. There was a lot more conversations, and I started knowing this prior to Explore, just in conversations with Broadcom. We have a lot of meetings with Broadcom. Obviously, we're tightly aligned, and they're talking more about the corporate and the commercial account and the importance of the corporate and the commercial account. And if those names don't, if those tags don't mean anything, it's the mid-size, it's small and mid-size, medium-sized business. It's not those huge enterprises that we've talked about before. Now, is Broadcom going to lose focus on the top guys? Absolutely not. But it's nice to know it's an. So we've got that as well. So excited. We're tracking that. Excited to find out more on that. But wow, it was awesome to hear Jeremy on stage. I act like I know him. I don't, but I feel like I do after his talk on stage. But very good job. So Jeremy, if you happen to be on the town hall, kudos to you. Oh, and they announced next year is going to be in Vegas on the 31st. Had that question a lot if they were going to do it again. So they are. Yep, they're definitely doing it again in Las Vegas. And let me tell you, whoever plans Explore and then backs it up with a 3-day weekend for us in the US and I think Canada, oh my gosh, you are sainted, because that is wonderful to come off of that event and then have a long weekend. All right, so save the date for next year. All right, so Kendall, will you talk a little bit about this slide here?
Sure thing. So just coming off such an incredible weekend, or week, I should say, at Explore, meeting so many people, getting to hear so many people's stories. I just wanted to flash this for folks. You don't have to have gone to Explore to fill this out and share your My VMUG story. This is just something that the team uses to help inform decisions. We get to celebrate some key moments and highlights that you've had on your journey. And we just want to hear from you. And so we just wanted to flash this for you coming off of Explore. Share your fun moments, share what you're excited about. If you're brand new, share that I'm brand new and I'm so excited about what VMUG's going to do for me. And if you've been here a while, you haven't filled this out in a while, just fill it out again for us. Again, it really helps us understand where you're coming from and get to celebrate your wins and highlights with you. So definitely take a screenshot of this. It's a quick little form. Just tell us a little bit about your story. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Kendall. We always like hearing people's story, and getting involved with VMUG can be as simple as something like that. And so we encourage you to do that. We appreciate it.
Yes,
Kendall.
thank you.
All right, webinars coming up. We got a boatload of webinars. The majority of these are on VCF 9 for obvious reasons. Lots of things going on with 9. You can see that top one is going to be crazy popular. What's real, what's new, what comes next, those kind of things. We've even got some executive level type things in there as well. We've got Unleashing the Power of VCF 9, Expert Roundtable. So the one on September 11th is by Valley Cyber. They're one of our big partners. We appreciate them. I've attended this session numerous times, and I always learn something new. Valley Cyber, in a nutshell, is a ransomware protection at the hypervisor level. And let me tell you, they just added into the security form. I can't remember what it's called, but the it's blanking on me. But anyway, they started now talking about hypervisors in that. So that's a great session. We also have the one on September 18th with Devolutions. So Devolutions, if you're not a VMUG Advantage member, you get free NFR, Devolutions NFR being an Advantage subscriber. And so this session is going to be for anybody, but if you're Advantage, you're going to have access to the NFR licenses from Devolution. They're also adding things to it. So a little teaser on the September 18th webinar there. So a couple there wanted to point out that aren't VCF non-related, but these webinars are very popular, easy to do. Obviously, you're just hopping on. I think most of them are an hour around lunchtime, Central Time, US lunchtime. So, you know, grab a sandwich and hop on. Good stuff, good content there. All right, so I mentioned Advantage, and if you don't know about Advantage, well, I'm about to tell you about it. So VMUG's membership, general membership is complimentary, but we do have a subscription that you can do. And the people that get the subscription, they're Advantage members. And outside, or in addition to getting cool swag at Explore, like t-shirts and hats, only for Advantage subscribers, you also get things like discounts to your certification. And PSA, Broadcom has dropped the need to take the course before you get your certification. They did that back in 2024. So go get certified, people. The knowledge you have, if you've been doing vCenter for 5 or so years, you probably could pass it without training or without studying. I would recommend brush up on, you know, vSAN, NSX, ARIA, but probably 5 to 6 hours, you'll be able to pass the test. So with this certification, or excuse me, with Advantage, you get 50% off your certification, which brings it down to $125 US. That's a no-brainer, folks. Many places like Explore, they have free cert sits. So you can take advantage of that. We did free cert sits at St. Louis and Connect, and we are looking to do more of those in 2025 and in 2026. So if you're in the DC area, we're looking to do certification testing at that event. And then 2026, we're gearing up to do it in all locations, still working out all of those, but plenty of opportunities to get your certification. But if you don't hit those, you can get it just for $125 if you're an Advantage subscriber, because once you're certified in VCP VCF, that's the key there, VCP VCF, you now have access to VCF, your full license for VCF, 128 core. And there's more. We include AVI load balancer. We include vDefend. So this is for personal use only. That's like a $20,000 package right there. So you can run this in your personal use only home lab, but it's great to test out the new features of VCF. So make sure you're checking that out. And if you're certified, or if you got certified at Explore, go get Advantage and you can download the VCF 128 core bits right now. So it doesn't matter what order you've done them in. You just got to be certified and be Advantage. You can buy Advantage, get certified by Advantage, doesn't matter. But those two things have to be done, and then you can get your certs. But there's even more to Advantage. You get discounts on New Horizons, 25% off. I mentioned the Devolutions thing. So lots going on there. And by attending this, you see that on the right. If you use the code Town Hall, you can get 10% off. And that brings it down to $189 US dollars there. So use the code Town Hall, get your Advantage for us. I mentioned, maybe I didn't mention, but anyway, 600 folks took the test at Explore. Again, that was a free cert set if you had the full pass on that one. And we talked about Devolution. So obviously I'm excited about Advantage. If you have any questions on that, reach out to myself, Kendall. You can email advantage@vmug.com. Lots of things going on with Advantage, but my biggest takeaway, especially from Explore and other events, don't think that taking that certification is a huge obstacle. Now, I'm talking to people that's been doing vCenter for, 3 to 5 years. So many people came up to me and said, look, it was a free cert set at Explore. I took it blind and I passed. Take it. We had some that already had their admin. They went for their architect, which is a little bit more, in detail or in depth, and they passed that as well. It needs to be your VCP VCF. So that's it on Advantage. All right. So Explore on Tour is continuing on. As you know, they're not doing Explore Barcelona. They are doing Explore on Tour. And VMUG, of course, will be at most of these, well, all of them actually. So let me tell you where we're going to be. So in Mumbai, we're going to have a space in the community booth. In Paris, we're going to have a space in the community booth. Same with Sydney. In Tokyo, you'll see the leaders there. I know Kaz is going to be there. Kunihiro is going to be there. Now in London is a big one. we have got the London UK UserCon. You can see on the right side on the 18th and the Explore on Tour on the 17th. So you're thinking, well, this is crazy. Why are there two events at once? These are adjacent events. So the 17th is Explore on Tour. The 18th is the UserCon. It's in the same facility. It's going to be in London. I'm going to be there. So it's going to be a really good event. So you can register for the UK UserCon. I believe the Explore on Tour is sold out. So I don't know that you can get in on the 17th, but you definitely can get in on the 18th. So make sure that you go to vmug.com and register for that. If you're in the London area, or if you want to fly in and attend, you know, that's fine too. The other one I want to mention is Frankfurt. So that's November 11th and 12th. I'll be attending that one as well. We have got a reception the night of the 11th that is going to be a VMUG reception. So kind of in the middle of the Explore on Tour. So make sure if you're in that area, you can attend that one as well. You can go to the Explore on Tour page to learn all about that and register for those events. Those are Broadcom events. The UserCons are VMUG events. So you do have to register for both if you want to attend both. And I'm talking specifically about London. Obviously, like in Sydney and Paris and Mumbai, if we have a community booth there, you just go to the Explore and Tour and we'll be at the community booth. So wanted to make sure everybody understood that there. Oh, and I do want to mention the virtual event. That's going to be November 6th. So this is kind of like an online UserCon. We'll have keynotes, we'll have breakout sessions, we'll have all kind of stuff, all kind of good content there. That's online, and it's a great event to attend. We had over 3,000 people at our last one. Of course, they were launching VCF9 with that, but we're going to have a ton of VCF9 content there as well as partners. All right. Partner update. So this happened at Explore as well, and it's something that you need to be aware of, even if you're not a partner, because it affects you. So first of all, lots of changes going on in the partner ecosystem. And what that means is, especially for the VMUG end user member, because of course VMUG is for partners and Broadcom employees as well as end users. But your partner that you've been buying services from and licenses from, you need to ask if they're still a partner. There have been a lot of reductions on the partner side. So you could be in a scenario where you think this partner is now still a Broadcom partner and they're not. And you want to find out that sooner rather than later. And whether you stick with them or not, that's up to you. You can make that call. I just want you to be aware that those changes have happened. There is a lot of partners that are no longer partners. I'm talking reductions in the thousands. Now, my guess is the partner that you're working with was, you know, part of the program and those kind of things. So there was a lot of people that were cut that really didn't do much with it. It was kind of a lot of people were in partner in name only. But nonetheless, you want to ask your partner if they're still a partner, what their relationship is with Broadcom, because that's very important. That is also happening on the VCSP side. So that's the VMware Cloud Service Provider Program. Used to be called the vCloud Air Network, vCAN, if you're that old. Used to work for a vCAN over a decade ago. But nonetheless, so that program is changing too. Now, that is another one. They went from like, I think, 2,000 or 3,000 partners down to 100 or 200. So it has been cut drastically. I think this one's even more critical because if you have workloads in a partner that was a CSP partner and now they're no longer a CSP partner, I don't know where support's going to come from. So I'm not saying they're not supporting it. These are the questions I would ask if I were you. Obviously, there's going to be ways to get people over, take those workloads and move them to a CSP that is a Pinnacle CSP, the highest level that you can get. And in fact, we have a webinar on this that is specifically for VMUG members that is talking about the CSP changes. So think of it as a town hall specific for CSPs and the changes that are going on. We're going to have probably 3 to 5 CSPs on that call. And, you know, we'll be able to talk to them and hear from them. And Jody, Sheila, who's on the call, she's going to be on there as well to help moderate that. So that's one of the webinars coming up. I don't know the date on that off the top of my head.
It is, I think, well, I just set it up. It is October 14th.
October 14th. So it's a
And-
little further out, so we couldn't put it on that other slide.
Yeah, and we just got the link, so I'm gonna put it in the chat.
Oh, got the link. So we're gonna put that in the chat. So be on the lookout for that one. The other big thing that was said at Broadcom, and you might have seen some of these announcements in your feed, is the professional services. Broadcom is vacating the professional services part of their business, and they are moving that to partners. This is again why it's so important that you do an evaluation and vet your current partner. Might be a good time to go talk to other partners and see what's the best fit for you, because there's been so much change. So who you got your services from and who you bought your licenses from, there's a big chance that that's going to change. And that relationship with Broadcom and the partners and the resellers and the distributors, you know, it's a lot of changes have happened. Now, look, you'll be able to still buy VCF. It's not that big of a deal. I just want you to be aware of those changes to make sure. And then services, this is something that your current partner, you know, maybe they can provide you the services, or maybe they're going to be outsourcing that to one of these authorized and, you know, certified service partners. And these are things you just need to know. You know, maybe there's some opportunity in there for you to buy direct, maybe save some money. You know, maybe it's just, you know, pick whatever the right partner is for you. So just be aware of that, because things are changing. And we know from surveys that skills gap and complexities is one of the biggest obstacles to adopting VCF. And so using a partner that does this all day long is a great way to have your day one set up correctly. Do that through a partner. Then day two, you can operate it yourself and, you know, continue to do what you're doing. But there's a lot of changes in 9, especially. Of course, it's going to be the familiar UI that you're used to with vCenter, but a lot of additions there. So just be aware of that. So a little bit of a PSA, but want everybody to know what's going on from a partner perspective. Let's see, I think I touched on everything that I needed to on that. But stay diligent out there with your partners and ask those questions. All right, we're now to Q&A. So again, if you want me to see the question, put it in the Q&A. If it's in the chat, we may or may not have time to get to it. But oh, I got them.
Okay.
No, sorry, I didn't know which show. All right, so let's start off here. This is from Chris. Any news on those who are VCP, VCF certified in 5.2 will be able to upgrade that to 9.0 certification? Will there be a remediation test of some sort, or will they need to retake the whole test for 9.0? I believe it's the whole test. I'm pretty sure it's the whole test, but your 5.2 certification will last for 3 years. So from an advantage perspective, I don't think that would hold you back as far as, you know, getting 9.0 or 5.2 or whatever you want. I know there were some conversations about the certifications that came out. Somebody had 5.2 and they went and got 9.0 again. It was Explorer, it was free. And so they got their 9.0 certification, and they told me that the certification didn't put the version number on there. So that's my best answer on that one. Is VCF 9X available to download from VMUG's members yet? So I'm assuming this is talking about Advantage. So I'll make that assumption. So here's the deal, and it's a little confusing, I'll admit. 5.2 is absolutely out there. You can go download that now. Now, this is for people that are Advantage and already have their certification. So if you're in that category, I'm talking to you. If you're not in that category, go buy Advantage and get your cert. So you can go get 5.2 right now. 9.0 is in the portal, but it is a 90-day time bomb on those bits. So if you install it in 90 days, it's going to go away, which is not ideal. However, Broadcom is working on getting Advantage into the system that will give you the token that you can now run 365 days on 9.0. If you're unfamiliar, 5.2 was keys, 9.0 is now a token, and basically it's a call home. So Broadcom has to unlock the 365-day key for Advantage subscribers. So because of that update in 9.0, Broadcom's working on doing that for its Vantage subscribers, because technically as a Vantage subscriber, you're not a Broadcom customer. So it's like, all right, how can we get, you know, an Advantage subscriber, somebody using this in their home lab personal use, to be able to get the token? So they are working on that. They're telling us that they'll be done within 90 days. So if all goes right, you download your 90 days, and then before 90 days, this process is worked out with Broadcom, and then you can get your authorized tokens and then light your 9.0 environment up for the full 365. Warning, this is not, I've got no control over when this happens. And so I feel like it will happen. I'm being told it will happen, but you know, priorities shift and things change. I don't anticipate that happening, but I would just give the warning that before you put a ton of hours into your 9.0, I would be leery about doing that until this process is set. Now, if you want to live on the edge and you're like, look, I don't care, it'd be great for me to set this all up again. If it does time bomb out on you and you get it the 91st day, go for it. Document that. Talk about how you did that at a VMUG event. But you can do it if you want to, but that's the caveat. The token authorization should be done by the time the 90-day time bomb is out, but I cannot guarantee that. So that pretty much is the summary there. It's a should, it's not a guarantee. All right, another question. Everything available tech update in VVF 9.x. So that's a Broadcom question. Maybe somebody can hop in the chat. Oh, Jody said it's a new test. Jody, why don't we get you to pop in on here? So if y'all don't know Jody, she's field CTO. Maybe she can help us out with this VVF9. She's with Broadcom.
They're just allowed to talk or promote as panelists.
Yeah, put her in as panelist. We're going to put you in as panelist, Jody.
She should be.
Okay, another question while we're getting her in here. If I take my VCP VCF today, is it going to be 9.0 or still about 5X? I think they're both still out there right now. I'd imagine that's going to be ending soon, though. So if you want your 5.2, I'd get it quick. But I mean, if you haven't taken it, I would go and get the 9.0. Hey, Jody.
Hi, I missed the question. Could you repeat it for me?
Yes. So the question is everything available tech update in VVF 9.x?
Everything available from what perspective? Like
I don't know. The parentheses was tech update.
tech
So
update.
John, if you can put something else in the chat and clarify that.
Are you talking feature functionality or security, or I guess, yeah, if you could clarify that, that'd be great.
Oh, and we got, yeah, so somebody said, depends on which test. I'm at the 5.2 or 9.0, both are available. All right, so Jody, I'm going to run through these. You can hop in if it's something that you got, can help us out with.
Yeah.
All right, all right, we answered that one. When will the licenses be available? They've been promised for a while. Bits are good, but when are the licenses from Broadcom? So Richard, I'm not quite sure what licenses you're talking about. Obviously, if you go buy a VCF, you can go get those immediately. Maybe you're talking about Advantage. 5.2's in there. We just covered 9.0. 9.0's in there, but it does have that 90-day time bomb. But we should have that not repaired. We should have that working by the time that is the 90 days is up. However, that is not a guarantee. Does a 5.2 cert get you the 9.0 license? Yes. If you're a VMUG Advantage subscriber and you have your 5.2 certification, you can go download your 9.0. All right, Keith asked, any highlights around the strategy for AVS considering their calls for tech to go back to where it belongs on premises? Any strategy for AVS considering, so I'm assuming they're talking about Azure VMware service. So I'm not quite following your question there, Keith, but I will say this. You know, Hawk Tan on main stage talked about on-prem and about how people are moving, you know, away from the hyperscalers down, you know, onto on-prem. And I talked to a few of those hyperscalers afterwards, and they were, you know, cringing a little bit there. Look, it's a multi-cloud world out there. Run the app where it runs best. And I think that my opinion here, A lot of that's going to run great and best on-prem, but there are going to be opportunities or situations where maybe you need to use it, an AVS or a GCVE, or, pick your poison on a hyperscaler or one of the CSPs that'll have it. So I think that's something you just got to determine where it runs best. Obviously, Microsoft had a huge booth at the event. Microsoft's a big partner of Broadcom, so is Google. AWS was there as well. So I don't think there's going to be any, as Brad Tompkins' opinion only, I don't think there's going to be any, kind of fallout and those solutions aren't going to work. I mean, think about it. Broadcom sells those licenses to Microsoft or to AWS or to Google, and then Google sets this up and does what they want to with it. So Broadcom is looking at Google and Microsoft as a customer. I mean, they are a customer. They're buying the licenses. So I think that relationship will be a long one and a fine one. So don't know if there's any necessarily strategies you need to have about AVS. However, if it's a strategy from your business to, hey, let's move away from the public cloud back to on-prem, maybe there's cost savings there, maybe there's privacy concerns, especially with AI. A lot of people have concerns about doing AI workloads in a hyperscaler. If that's a company direction, there's certainly easy ways to get from AVS down to on-prem, especially with VCF. Everybody's running VCF. That's one of the beauties of the vision of Broadcom. VCF everywhere. You got license portability. So even if you bought the license from somebody, you can now move it on-prem and vice versa. So again, run the workload where it works best. Y'all are all smart people. You can figure that out. But Keith, hopefully that gives you some insight on the AVS question. Let's see. Okay. So Keith, okay. So maybe clarify it. Azure VMware Service, where there are any highlights that explore on this specifically. I did not see any. There were certainly not any on main stage. There were sessions from Microsoft, so I would imagine they went into it there. So Keith, I can't say one way or another, but what I attended, I did not see any, but they had a massive booth. So they were there. I think they were the diamond partner or whatever the highest level is. All right, Francisco, my VMUG Advantage account is bound to a gmail.com email address. I know the Broadcom account cannot be Gmail or similar. Is this going to be an issue when Broadcom releases process to obtain tokens for VCF 9? Or is there a better way to change VMUG Advantage email address to something other? So take that one, Kendall.
Okay, here's what I know. I know that your emails do need to match because the license access that you get through Advantage and certification lives on the Broadcom portal. It does not live in the VMUG portal. What that means is that we have access and ability and support to help you on all of the VMUG side of things on your VMUG portal. We don't have control over your Broadcom portal. So when it comes to changing passwords, checking in on licensing, making sure you have the right thing, that's not something that we can do by ourselves because we just don't have access to the Broadcom portal and the behind the scenes of that. However, so saying that, it's easiest if you email us and change your VMUG email. We can do that really easily for you. We don't have to give you to somebody else and we can do that for you. If you want to change your Broadcom email, then that's something you'll have to go through the Broadcom support for, which might be a little different, a different experience than what you'll get with us. We just don't have any control over that. The support for Broadcom is going to be support@broadcom.com. So you can reach out to them, but I would suggest changing your VMUG email to match because that's something that we can handle for you.
It's Advantage, but VMUG.com.
Oh, yes. And yeah, the email for that is advantage@vmug.com. If you email advantage@vmug.com with any of this, we can always try to point you to support or do what we can for you ourselves. But yeah, matching all of your accounts is really important to make sure you get the right access with your Advantage portal.
All right. Thank you, Kendall. All right. Curtis asked, was there any VBF content? Yes, there was VBS content at Explore. VMUG's got VBF content. So if you are looking for VBF, no problem getting that content. I think that, VBF is a good solution, especially for the maybe smaller and mid-size. It's a good way to kind of get your feet wet in what's coming, which is, hopefully VCF in my opinion here. But again, you look at the Grinnell scenario, small company was able to see the advantages to that. But, get it. Sometimes you gotta, crawl, walk, and run. So if you're looking at VVF, that's a good solution. But we've got a lot of members that got VVF, and then shortly after, they're like, how can I upgrade to VCF? So if you're in the quoting process, get a quote for both. Please get a quote for both. You're going to see a bigger discount on VCF. So it might be a scenario where it just makes sense to go ahead and get VCF. Even though you might not be using it all tomorrow, you will grow into it. All right, so we had a question about advanced cyber security compliance. So Jody, can you spend a few minutes on that one? Because I heard it at the keynote, and that's about the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah, way to throw me on the spot there. Throw me on the spot. I do have the keynote, the slide on it. However, we didn't get very briefed on it, but the short knowledge that I can share with you is that we're going into the era where we have ransomware, security and resilience are at the top of our focus, as you see in the business initiatives. And as the top of the focus, we have our new SKU that's going to be really focusing around advanced security, resilience, and compliance, but also bundling in that disaster recovery component as well. So that will become a second SKU. So you're going to have DR and ransomware again together with other advanced security and compliance capabilities tied into that one SKU. So sorry, I can't go much deeper than that right now because I need to deep dive myself, but I'm happy to, if you send me an email, give you all the latest documentation on it because I'm catching up on it this week as well.
And Jody, remind me, is that released now, or is that just a tech preview of what's coming?
I don't believe the SKU is released now. It is tech preview coming, but the SKU I don't decide yet.
Okay, all right. So that makes sense. We don't have all the answers on that, but it's going to be, we'll have more information as that comes out.
Yeah, and feel free to email me as well, jody.sheely@broadcom.com, and I'd happy to get you the content that you need.
Oh, so the question is the advanced cybersecurity compliance included in VVF? My guess is no on that.
No, it's a separate SKU, even outside of VCF.
Got it. Separate SKU outside of VCF and VVF. And the load balancers also, that's part of the ANS division. So load balancers and VDefend, Avi load balancers and VDefend is a separate SKU, but you have to have VCF to get those. So you can't go VVF and get VDefend. You have to have VCF.
Yeah, there's a limited amount of advanced services that are available at VVF, and especially going forward, you're going to see the advanced services will be more catered towards VCF since that's our platform.
All right, I think the questions are dying down. Can you tell us something? All right, so Richard, can you tell us about the additional SKUs for VCF, not just the one you mentioned? I assume you mean the ANS SKUs? I'm not quite sure how many additional SKUs on top of VCF there are.
Currently, I believe there's 4, and then we announced the advanced cyber compliance. The cyber compliance is the security and compliance piece like we just talked about. And then we have, which is now going to be bundled in, and then a few others. Let me get you a list of those and send them out. You want to send me an email, and I'll send them over to you with the documentation for them.
All right, Richard, we'll get that to you. All right, folks. Well, if we've got no other questions, or Jody, feel free if you got some comments you want to say to everybody here. If not, we'll wrap it up. All right, folks. Well, go ahead, Jody.
They did a great job at Explore this year. There was so much momentum. I heard everybody talking about the VMUG booth, all the VMUG events, everything, and you guys just always lean into the community. So just want to say thank you to you guys and all the effort you put into the community and helping drive, the momentum around, the Broadcom platform and services. So thank you guys to you for all you do.
Well, appreciate it. And yeah, it was a really good event. And I hope everybody marks the calendar for next year. And in the meantime, come find us at a UserCon or a Connect or an Explore on Tour or, wherever you may be. So thanks everybody for attending. We'll be doing this again at 4 p.m. Central Time. So if you want to hang out some more, you can, or we'll be picking up some of the APJ folks for that one. And with that, we will end it. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.